Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com. I'm here with Chris Tuttle, the light heavyweight champion and new IFBB pro. Chris, you were out of the game for a little while. I didn't think I'd ever see you back. You came back. Talk to me about the little journey that you took.
I'll do a basic recap. I started bodybuilding in 2005 after I turned pro in 2004, racing motocross. Always loved bodybuilding, motocross, fire and water, obviously.
Danger.
Just you working against each other. So got into bodybuilding in 2005, did first show in New Jersey, got beat pretty bad, liked it, liked the challenge, wanted to keep going. Did it for a couple of years, kind of postponing, growing up. And around 2009 after junior nationals, I said to myself, I got to get my life underway. Finished up school the rest of the way, had to do an internship in Long Island.
You were doing well. A lot of guys wouldn't have stopped.
Yeah. Well, bodybuilding is sometimes not going to make you pay the check for the rest of your life if something happens.
But that's a mature attitude. A lot of bodybuilders don't do that.
So I figured that I got to get my school finished, get my internship, my registered dietitian. I got my master's in human nutrition now. I completely stopped lifting completely. Went to school, didn't train, just ate and just focused on school, getting married, bought in a house. And then I just started to get an itch because I've always competed in something my whole life since I was 4. Right. So I said to my wife, I'm like, I might want to bodybuilding. And she's like, really? I don't think you were really happy. I'm like, let me try strongman. I did strongman for a little bit.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
I did it for 6 months. I did well my first one, but I don't have that heavy weight. I can do repetitions.
Not that tall either.
No. And I won my first novice when I did a novice to try it out, and a novice lightweight, and I did pretty well, but I tore apart my knees and always hurt. So I decided to go back to bodybuilding 3 months later after that show, and that's when I did the NPC Vermont, and I won the overall and the Cutler overall, and then decided to do North Americans, and my goal was to get top 5, and I got top 5, and I was very happy, and my friends weren't. They're like, you got overlooked. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm happy. And then people were like, you should do nationals. I was like, no. And my wife's like, when's nationals? And I'm like, November. She goes, that's 3 months. She's like, yeah. She's like, we're going to do it. I'm like, excuse me? So, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have done this today.
So you weren't even planning on doing this?
No, I wasn't planning at all, like financially, everything. And my wife's like, no, I'll help you do it. I really want you to do this. I really think it's important that you're already this lean. Why don't you?
You owe her big time.
Yeah, I owe her everything in this time, and I really couldn't have done it without her.
She sacrificed a lot for you to be able to be here?
She really did. It's really not fair for her. 27 weeks of dieting, of me mentally not being there, and not wanting to be the husband, I took care of everything. I don't snap at her, not wanting to be like that, but just not mentally there.
Right.
But I have a lot to repair on. Told her I would do a lot of yard work with her, a lot of planting flowers and
fall cleanup.
Yeah, exactly, fall cleanup. I actually was doing leaves before last week for the show to burn a little extra calories.
He's not afraid to get his hands a little dirty.
No, absolutely not.
Well, you got an overall coming up.
Yeah.
You got a good shot at it.
I don't know. That's I know one thing I know is some people bodybuilding are a little delusional on what they look like. Mm-hmm. I know my weaknesses. I know that I got some decent condition in certain areas, but my back is terrible.
You don't have a terrible back by any means.
It needs
You're
to
just
be
very harsh on you.
It needs to be a lot thicker. It's not something that is a strength of mine, and I know a lot of those guys' backs in the heavyweights are pretty freaking good. So I'm just ecstatic. I don't even know what to say, and it really hasn't all hit me yet. It really hasn't, and I have to thank my wife. I so many times I told her, I go, I don't have to do this, and she's like, I really want you to. And coming from somebody like that who doesn't understand any of this in the beginning and wasn't really too keen on it in the very first part of my me going back into bodybuilding, but she's become very supportive and seeing how important it is into my life and how much this transfers into me helping other people in my business. So she sees and shares that dream now with me, and it's something more I couldn't want any more than that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Chris Tuttle, new IFBB Pro light heavyweight champion here. You got the overall coming up. Stay tuned.